Hello everyone and welcome back to another new album video. We're now on week 36 and this week we're taking a look at F-1Trillion by Post Malone. First released August 16th, 2024. Some notable tracks on this album include Pour Me a Drink, Have the Heart, Finer Things, and Wrong Ones. Have some notes here about the album. We'll get through those, get through the track list and all that stuff. I listened to this album, I want to say, like a couple days after it came out. And I ended up really enjoying it. I ended up listening to the long bed version. I think it was called the long bed version, which is essentially the deluxe version of the album. It has like a handful of extra tracks on it, and it's like another like I think it's like maybe like an extra like adds like an extra like 30 minutes to the album or something like that, or something close to that. But I really had a lot of fun with the album. We're gonna get through the notes here, and then we'll get to like the track list and all that. So let me get my notebook open here. All right, here we go. So, F-1Trillion by Post Malone. This is his sixth studio album, and this is Post Malone, kind of like I wouldn't say dipping his toe in, but basically jumping right into country music, and I think he does a pretty serviceable job of doing that. We've had a couple other artists, or I guess maybe one main artist this year that dove into country with Cowboy Carter from Beyonce. I think Lana Del Rey was supposed to release a country album. I don't think that album's coming out. It was supposed to be called Lasso. So I don't know what's coming of that. But basically, Beyonce did Cowboy Carter, and Post Malone did F-1Trillion. F-1Trillion feels more like a straight up country album than Cowboy Carter did. I think that could work for or against the album, though, because I think like Cowboy Carter had a lot of stuff that was country inspired, but Beyonce kind of threw her own kind of twist on it and kind of like mashed up genres and stuff like that. This album from Post Malone just feels more like just a straight up country album, which I still think is fine. But I really liked the Cowboy Carter where Beyonce kind of just kind of like genre mashed up, did some mashups of the genres and things like that. And speaking of Cowboy Carter, it kind of goes right to the next point here, is that he was also featured on the track Levi's Jeans, which was on Cowboy Carter. So kind of maybe did a little bit of work there and kind of carried it over um, to this album. I got to bring up the list of people on this album. There's a ton of just kind of like country music legends on this album as well, as like features and guest artists. Let me actually just pull that list up because let me see here. I'm just gonna read this list off. So it has features Tim McGraw, Hank Williams Jr., Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton, Dolly Parton, Brad Paisley, Luke Combs, Lady Wilson, Jelly Roll, Ernest, Sierra Farrell, Chris Stapleton, Hardy, and Billy Strings. So basically, just a kind of almost like a who's who of kind of past, maybe and present countries. Past with like or still working, but like Tim McGraw's been around for like a long time. Dolly Parton, of course, has been in the industry for like decades at this point, and is an absolute legend in the genre and outside of it. You have Blake Shelton, who he's not he's been around for a while, but he's like relatively kind of on the younger side. But his track, the track that he's on, which I'll get to a little bit later, probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. So I'm definitely going to want to check out more Blake Shelton stuff after listening to this Post Malone record. Let me bring up more of the notes here. There's a great quote on how it was written and recorded. So they actually pulled that quote up from Post. Basically, this is just him kind of describing the writing and recording process. It says, quote, "I've always wanted to make a record like this, but for the longest time it seems so inaccessible because I don't know how the hell it works. But going in there and meeting Derek and Larry Franklin and Paul Franklin and Craig and Dave Cohen and Aaron, and it was just like so cool. And then it's crazy to watch Derek Charta a playthrough of a voice memo and chart it and go in there and know it immediately. But we would go for like a week at a time or like a week and a half and around work and everything, and we would go and just write. And there's a lot of writers on these songs because we just sat and we stayed up till like 6 in the morning. All the buddies came in. We all just drank and effing tossed stuff around. I had to edit that a little bit. And I learned that's nothing usually how it goes. Instead, we have like Luke and Mo Hardy, and we're just sitting, and we got so many writers, and not even necessarily there to write, just to like jam and hang out. So that's kind of the process of at least writing and recording it. And then there was another quote from Howard Stern, which I think said it was a 2022 interview with him on the Howard Stern show. And I think Howard asked him about potentially doing a country album, and Post Malone was quoted as saying, quote, "To be honest, there's nothing stopping me from taking a camera or setting up in my studio in Utah and just recording a country album on YouTube. I'm allowed to do that. I'm being human." And then basically that's just him talking about, that's maybe like a thing that, I don't want to say it inspired him to do it, but I think it was like a question that was posed to him by Howard Stern. Um, Prior to this, I hadn't really listened to a lot of Post Malone music. I had heard like a song here and there, like I think like Sunflower from, was it Enter the Spider Verse? There's like Better Now because that was featured on the music game Fuser, so I listened to that. Those are both really good tracks. And then whatever the kind of track he did for the, was it Pokemon 30th anniversary? I think it was the 30th, because I think he did a song. I don't know if it was 30th. It may have been longer than that. 96, 2006, 16, maybe the 20th anniversary Pokemon, because that was like 30th anniversary is still upcoming, but I think it was a 20th anniversary. So I wasn't super familiar with a lot of his music. I was just more familiar with him from like the fact that like he crosses over into the Magic the Gathering community and stuff like that. Plays a lot of Magic, so I kind of knew about him from that. Him buying like the one of one ring kind of thing. So this is the first full length Post Malone album that I've listened to, and like I said earlier in the video, I had a lot of fun with it. I listened to the deluxe version, but there's just F-1Trillion and then F-1Trillion Long Bed. Came out to pretty good reviews. Let me actually just pull those reviews up, or the scores at least. So basically, at Metacritic, it has a 71 out of 100. All Music has it at a 3.5 out of 4, or a 3.5 out of 5. Clash has it at 7 out of 10. Guardian has it at a 3 out of 5. Independent has it at a 4 out of 5. The Observer has it at a 3 out of 5. Pitchfork gives it a 7 out of 10. Rolling Stone has it, looks like, at a 3.5 out of 5. And the Telegraph has it at a 4 out of 5. What was the other? There was a quote from Pitchfork I wrote down as well, and they said that basically his quote, shift to fun, low stakes pop country feels so right. So low stakes is kind of like, the album does feel pretty, I want to say pretty basic, in the way that I don't think it necessarily reinvents the country genre. The lyrics and kind of like the musical style feel like very safe, but I think that's kind of understandable with it being like his first like full country album. I've seen people describe it as a like a love letter to the genre, so it's a little bit understandable that it's a little bit more on the kind of basic side of what it's trying to do, like at least with like the music and like the songwriting. So I don't really think that's like a huge negative. I think that some people maybe view it as maybe like not being like genre like defining or anything like that. But I think it's a very solid country album, but it doesn't do much more than just be a country album. But I think, like I said, his first time out with country, I think that is something that is like expected. If he does another country album, maybe he'll like like find stuff that he's learned from doing this album, and maybe like push boundaries and maybe push the envelope a little bit more if he does another one, which I'm hoping he does, because I ended up really liking this one. Let me see here. Let's get into the track list now. I think that was it, because I was going to jump into basically the album being a little bit on the basic side, but it's totally understandable. So we have the two albums here. There's F-1Trillion and then F-1Trillion Long Bed. So I'm just going to read off the tracks from F-1Trillion first. Looks like 18 minutes, or 18, not 18 minutes, 18 tracks with 57 minutes in length, close to 58. Track, and I'll read off the features as well for the songs that feature additional like country like legends and classics. So track 1 is Wrong Ones, that features Tim McGraw. That was a little bit more basic, but still pretty good. Track 2 is Finer Things, which features Hank Williams Jr. Hank Williams Jr. has been around for quite a while. Basically, I think like even some like stuff in like maybe like the 70s and 80s. So yeah, track 2 is Finer Things. That features Hank Jr. Track 3 is I Had Some Help. That features Morgan Wallen. I'm not super familiar with Morgan Wallen, so like I don't know if I've listened to any of their music just yet. So like I'll definitely have to probably check them out. I think they've definitely been kind of like blowing up lately in popularity, so I should probably check them out at some point. So that's track 3. Track 4 is Pour Me a Drink featuring Blake Shelton. One of my favorite tracks on the album. It's basically just talking about like it's like pour me a drink, somebody bum me a smoke. It's pretty upbeat, pretty fun. Really like that one. That's track 4. Track 5 is Have the Heart featuring Dolly Parton. Again, absolute legend in the music. Obviously beyond with like all her like charity work and stuff like that. So that's track 5. Track 6 is What Don't Belong to Me. Track 7 is Goes Without Saying, which featuring Brad Paisley. Track 8 is Guy for That with featuring Luke Combs. Track 9 is Nosedive featuring Lady Wilson. So I'm not familiar with really familiar with her work. So again, probably another country musician to probably check out at some point. Track 10 is Losers featuring Jelly Roll. Wasn't really familiar with Jelly Roll like before this year necessarily, and I think I listened to one of Jelly Roll's albums, and I think it was whatever album he released. I think summer recently. Yeah, like the Whitsit Chapel. I listened to that earlier this year. That's not his. I think that's let me see. That came out in 2023. So not super familiar with Jelly Roll except for that one album. But he's featured on track 10, which is Losers. Track 11 is Devil I've Been featuring Ernest. Track 12 is Never Love You Again featuring Sierra Farrell. Track 13 is Missing You Like This. Another what's called collaboration with Luke Combs. Track 14 is California Sober, which features Chris Stapleton. Track 15 is Hide My Gun featuring Hardy. Track 16 is Right About You. And then track 17 is Mexico featuring Billy Strings. And then track 18 is Yours. So that's the first half of the album. Again, 18 tracks, comes in at just a little under 58 minutes. The long bed version, which features, let me see here, I think another 9 tracks actually. So 9 more tracks. And that comes in at 87 minutes. So yeah, roughly 30 minutes extra on that one. I don't think there's any kind of features on this from other country music. I think this half is all post. So track 1 on the long bed edition is Fallen in Love. Track 2 is Dead at the Honky Tonk. Track 3 is Kill the Man. Track 4 is And How It Ends. Track 5 is Hey Mercedes. Track 6 is Go to Hell. Track 7 is Two Hearts. Track 8 is Who Needs You. And then track 9 is Back to Texas. Again, 9 tracks on the flatbed version, coming in at 87 minutes. So basically, like I said, roughly 30 minutes over what the original album is. The album artwork for that one is actually a little bit different. Like, it's basically the truck, if you look over, yeah, got the pointing right. Look over that way, you see the truck basically about to hit the water. The long bed version of it is the truck just higher up in the air, basically. But really enjoyed the album. Like, I could see where some critics were kind of a little like slightly negative on it, with it being a little bit more basic, basically very safe as far as like kind of I don't want to say stereotypical country music, but it was kind of like it could have easily veered into that area. But I think it's kind of understandable for it being a first album and you want to just get a feel for the genre. You're probably going to copy kind of stuff that has worked in the past for like other country artists and maybe not try anything like too crazy, at least at first. But hopefully, if he continues with if Post Malone continues doing country music, we'll see maybe something a little bit more maybe ambitious next time. But with that being said, I ended up having a lot of fun with this album. Again, listen to the long bed version, but there's basically F-1Trillion and then the long bed if you want to go beyond that. But I think that's going to do it for this video. We'll be back again in a week with a whole new album. No idea what that one's going to be just yet. But we'll be back in a week with that. Again, that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again. Take care and have a good one. See ya.